Faith is not blind. Faith is modifying your thoughts and actions because God exists. God is in heaven, so we cannot see him. Some unbelievers claim that faith is blind. Actually, in truth, the opposite is true. The lack of faith is spiritual blindness. Wait, how can this be, many people will say. Let's do an example. Some atheists, people who do not have faith, believe that we're all a product of chance, and morality doesn't actually matter. Another atheist may take the idea that morality doesn't matter and decide it is alright to lie to achieve one's own goals. Lying is a sin. Now you have two atheists that are guilty of the sin here. The atheist that is actually sinning by lying, and the teacher that is an atheist that said morality doesn't matter. Jesus was referring to the Pharisees when he said this, Matthew 15:14. Don't worry about them. They are blind leaders of the blind. And when one blind man leads another, both fall into a ditch. An atheist that reasons that nothing matters can end up performing any act. This is known as spiritual blindness. Faith is not blind because it uses the light of God to shine on its path. Faith is not to be confused with belief in God. Sometimes the degree to which you believe in God changes your faith, but they're not exactly synonymous. Faith is the guidelines for how you live your life, taking into consideration that God is real. If you don't believe God is real, your faith will be non-existent. If you know God is real, it does not automatically mean you will live your life with faith. Faith is the choice you have to make when you believe in God. There are many degrees of faith. A man with little faith may treat others nice, but take revenge instead of forgiving people that wrong him. A man with great faith may absorb great abuses from others and still forgive them. A man with little faith thanks God when he's blessed, but questions God's motives when things aren't going well. A man with advanced faith may not indulge in wasting any of his time or money on entertainment because he knows his time and money can be better spent on the poor. Faith is an attribute that pleases the Lord, so having more faith is something that all Christians should strive for. I personally work on making sure I'm a good steward of my money. I rarely buy beer even though I like beer. I know that $20 spent on beer could be spent on helping people eat who would rather starve to death. I see poverty as the #1 issue plaguing the world today. If everyone had enough to eat and drink, we'd not only be a more humanitarian world, but it would also help in other ways. A person who does not die of malnutrition can get an education and be a useful member of society. Jesus alludes that the rich people of this world will be judged with greater severity. Quote, Matthew 19:24. I repeat, this is much harder for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God than for a man. Let me do that again. Quote, Matthew 19:24. I repeat, it is much harder for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God than for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. Unquote. I speculate the reason he does this is that rich people have it in their power to change this world. Remember the movie Schindler's List? When Oskar Schindler thinks about how he could have saved more Jews from extermination by selling his car and pocket watch, he reels in despair. Our present situation is that there are people starving to death in this world, and the only thing they need to save them is more money to buy food. With the economics of supply and demand, there will be enough food for everyone if there was a better distribution of wealth. What we need for the world to be a better place is a personal desire to donate. When you donate, you lose power personally to achieve your own goals, but you help people from dying. It takes faith to lose personal happiness in order to keep someone else from death. This is what faith is. There are many examples, but many boil down on personal sacrifice in order to help your neighbor.